Okay, I'll shoot a little video now. I've gotten a lot of this stuff pulled down out of the ceiling, and basically what you got there is just the roof. It has that fiberboard nailed right onto the rafters, and then some insulation. Well, there's all my insulation on the floor. That's the cotton mold I was telling you about. This part's interesting though. This is a beautiful piece of paneling that someone put up here to make the place look nice and modern. This is what they covered up. I want you to look at these boards. Let me get this thing out of the way. And I'll show you what they covered up. These are boards that were hand sawn. You can see the saw blade marks in them, and if this was sawed with a circular saw, you would see a round pattern where a circular saw goes round. But what they used to do in those days is they'd have something like a big cross-cut saw. They'd work it back and forth, and they'd saw out a piece of lumber with it, and that's the way these boards are sawed. You can see the straight saw marks in them. I'll show you another piece. A lot of this stuff's covered over with wallpaper like that is on the inside, but on this wall, if you look at this wall, you can see they're up and down ridges. This is where they've taken they've taken a hand, I don't know if you actually call it a plane or what, but they've hand worked these boards to make them smooth. And the reason you have these ridges up and down is that's where they've worked them up and down to, take the grain out and make them into smooth boards. I've had people, when I was pulling the logs out of the house, say, well, don't throw away that good lumber. Well, to be honest with you, the logs wasn't much for good lumber, but this is old hand-worked lumber, and it's coming out. This wall is coming out. This wall is coming out. I got all this funky paneling over it, but basically what I've got under here is these gorgeous old boards that are just standing up. Nice and big and wide. I don't have a tape measure on me, but that's my hand spread once and twice there on those boards. So that's a good, I don't know, 12 inches anyway, maybe a little bit more. So anyway, I just thought I'd share my progress as to where I am right at the moment. What I'm going to be doing is putting a little extension on these rafters. I'd like to get about 8 inches of insulation in here. Right now, I think I could get 6. So I'm going to probably just run a 2x4 right along this. Put 8 inches of insulation up there, put some kind of little air passageway thing in it, and then throw some sheetrock on top of that. Up here I'm going to have to do some remanufacturing. I haven't worked the other side, and you can see the other side still has that old fiberboard. More than likely when I pull that down, that's all going to fall down on my head too. I had some interesting wiring going on up here this morning. I spent a little bit of time getting that straightened out. And yeah, it does look like this is all full of more of this cotton mulch insulation right on top of that fiberboard, so that once I pull that down, I'll have a nice mess. But what I can do with that stuff is just take it and put it back up in here. It's good insulation and it's usable. And this insulation up here in places is kind of sunk down. So what I'll do is I'll just take all that old stuff, sweep it up, put it in the bag, spread it back out up here, go to the store and buy me another few rolls of 6-inch insulation and put on top of that. That way I'll have plenty of insulation once I do that. And that's the whole point, is to get it good and insulated up here to keep the heat in and the cold out. And you'll notice it's all open up here with a vent in each end, and that's for a purpose. That's to keep air moving through the rafters up here, because that's what keeps the rafters from rotting out, is the fresh air moving amongst them. So I guess that's enough of that. I'll get my gas mask back on and go back to work here. I just want to show you them old boards and stuff.